Hi, this is Matt from Audio Plugin Deals. Today we're looking at Uchronia from Have Audio. Let's have a look at it. Uchronia is essentially a granular instrument for Kontakt 6 and above. Do note you need the full version of Kontakt. You cannot use this with the Kontakt player. So as you can see, it features 4 independent engines and ARPs, an XY pad in the middle, and then you have 3 playback modes, an extensive suite of effects, and a randomizer called Entropy. Down the bottom we can see 3 different types of page view. We have Perform, Sculpt, and Forge. I'll explain those in a moment. Perform is the one we're looking at now, and it's where you combine the 4 sound sources basically to create your own sounds. Sculpt is essentially the master effects section, and then Forge is where you can drag and drop your own samples to create your own unique sounds. Let's go back to the Perform page. Here we can see engines 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can switch the individual engines on or off by using the button to the left here. Let's put them all back on for now. Then to the right of that switch, we can select from any one of 72 individual sound sources. Below the waveform display, we have the playback modes. So essentially this can be forward, backwards, or forward and backwards simultaneously. They call this the verse mode. In the middle, we can switch on or off the effects, which I'll explain more in a moment. And to the right is the self-explanatory volume knob, and then below that is the ARP, which I'll get into a bit further on. In addition to those functions, we can click on this little cog wheel up here to take us to additional parameters. One key thing to mention is pay attention to this little arrow here. This essentially points to which engine these parameters are relating, or which one you've selected essentially. So at the moment it's on 1, because you can see this little arrow pointing to that. Or if we select down here, you can see the arrow moves and points to this one. It's quite small, but it works. Now if we look at these options in the middle in a bit more depth, let's first go down the left-hand side because they're all closely related to each other. Position determines the starting position of the sample. And then if we skip down to spray, spray determines the randomness of that starting position. So if we have it all the way down like so, then the sample is always going to start where position is selected, or if we turn this up, then this will have a lot more randomization of that start position. Then moving on to grain size, this determines the length of the grains that are being triggered. And then below that we have density, which determines the rate or the frequency of the triggering of the grains. To the right of that we have pitch, which has a range of plus or minus 36 semitones. Envelope below that is a conventional ADSR, albeit quite simplified. So as we move this slider to the right, this extends the attack and release stages, or if we move it to the left, then this reduces the attack and release times. Then we have spread, which introduces some random panning of the triggered grains. Down the bottom left, we have an atom button, and this essentially adds a bit of aggression to the triggered samples by increasing the transient and also adds a bit of distortion. To the right of that, we have speed, and this determines the rate of the sample playback as well as the direction. So if we put it here, for example, it's playing forward very slowly, here, forward very fast, or vice versa. So to the right of that we have tone. This is basically just a way to tilt the frequencies to the upper spectrum or the lower spectrum. Below that we have the arpeggiator section, which includes direction, number of steps, number of octaves, and then the rate. We can also draw the velocity of each step in the engine itself. And then at the top is the effects section. So here you have 6 simultaneous effects. And here there are options such as delay, reverb, EQ, various types of compressors and distortion. And then for each of these there are additional parameters. So if we select delay, first of all, however, we need to turn on the effects. Then we choose our delay like so. And then if we click the little cog to the left or the right, as the case may be, then we bring up additional parameters. And then down the very bottom we have what appears to be kind of 4 macro controls. Instead, they are kind of master creative effects for each engine. So here we have engine 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as I said, this applies this kind of master effect, and it's more of a creative master effect to that entire engine. And there are 78 different types of these. If we click out of the effects now, we have the XY pad, which as you'd expect blends between each of these different 4 engines. Quite self-explanatory really. Below that we have the effects switch. This turns the master effects on or off. These are different to the ones which I just covered. I'll explain them in a moment. And then to the right of that, we have the entropy switch. And this, as I said earlier, is the randomization option. And in my experience of using it, it works remarkably well. I know sometimes with randomization options in plugins, it's a bit hit and miss. But in this case, more often than not, it has resulted in quite usable sounds. If we move on now to the Sculpt page, here we have the master effects. I said a few moments ago that this button relates to different types of effects, and they are the ones on this Sculpt page, which we select up here. So let's put a bus compressor on and also put a distortion. And once again, you have different options up here if we click to the cog to the left. Below that are 3 additional controls, which essentially are for stereo width, and then we have 2 filters. So we have a high pass filter here and then a low pass filter here. They have quite funky names, but essentially that's all they are. Then down the bottom we have the output level for the tape effect, and then that can be switched on or off. And then the last tab is the Forge page, and this, as I said earlier, is where you add your own sounds. So in the interest of time, let's hear some of the presets. Let's have a look in the rhythmic section. Alien rhythms. Junkyard Symphony. Quite like this, because it's my favourite. Space Cowboys. And I missed Red Pill. Obviously we need to listen to that one. Let's have a few more from the rhythmic section and we'll go to the sound design menu. Gary Guitar Grooves. Two more, The Future in the Past, which sounds intriguing. Okay, this is my favourite. Let's see if we can turn that tape down a bit. And one more, Unimaginable Worlds. Now let's have a listen to the sound design section. What do we have? Dystopian horror. Power plant. Space haze. Really cool. Portal. No, let's go industrial noises. Seems to be more one-shot kind of driven. And I saw one, which I love the name of, Grizzly Pear. Have to listen to that. And let's go two more, Twisted Dream. That circus kind of layer at the top is properly freaky. Wow, one more. Let's have a listen to Ultra Terrestrials. Really cool. It's really one of those instruments you could just get lost in, playing for quite a long time, as you just saw there. So thanks for watching. Go check it out on Audio Plugin Deals, where it's currently heavily discounted. And if you're looking for dystopian kind of vibes in your tracks or your film scores, then I think this is a winner. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with something else. We'll see you then. Bye.